please rise for the pledge, and we'll also stay standing. We'll have a moment of silence for the tragedy that occurred yesterday at the loss of life of the 3 students and 3 adults. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Always a reminder that when those occurrences happen, that it makes us think, that they can happen anywhere at any time. I think this school district has done a lot over the years to help to try to mitigate those occurrences. I mean, we have a lot in place as far as security within our school district, and that says a lot for the Board of Education pushing and promoting that. It says a lot for our administrators, our teachers, our staff members, our security people. So we always strive to move in the direction of always not having enough security. So I just wanted to put that out there, and I appreciate it. Thank you. We'll open the meeting up for public comment. Just a reminder, public comment is for the agenda items only on the front end. The back end public comment is for general items. So anyone have anything, just state your name, and we'll open up to public comment. Good, I guess we're doing a good job. Okay, special presentations. Again, it's time of month for the leaders of the pack, so we'll call up the elementary school first and recognize our leader of the month for the elementary school.
So this is Cy Clover. She's our model student and leader of the pack for March. She has been to the main office to advocate for others and for herself, right, about the playground, the new playground that she wants.
There's going to be a future board presentation that she is prepared. It is quite extensive, so
that's great. She's great.
She's amazing.
So Mrs. Weber and Mrs. Jamal, who are here, Mrs. Weber and Mrs. Jamal, her classroom teachers, shared that Cy is such a pleasure to have in class and shares her beautiful, friendly personality every day. She's a hard worker and she has the biggest heart. Miss Erin, her physical therapist, shared the following. Cy is a very kind, generous, hardworking, and determined little girl. Coach Helmer, Cy is a kind-hearted and thoughtful student to have in class. She's very responsible. Mrs. Vergidamo, her second grade teacher, shared that while you received your online tutoring, you were there every day, willing to learn. You had a smile on your face and a positive attitude. Mrs. Hollyfield, your kindergarten teacher, and I didn't have to go and ask for these. They all volunteered, all of your previous teachers. She shared, I loved all of my time spent as Cy's teacher. She's such an amazing girl. She's compassionate and kind. She truly cares about others and she's there for anyone in need. Ms. Petrashak, your library teacher, she shared, Cy is wonderful. She's a wonderful addition to library. She's hardworking, kind and helpful. Ms. Gallagher, the art teacher, said that you're a truly wonderful student. And Mrs. McCaffrey, our music teacher, said you're an absolute joy to have in music. Congratulations, Cy.
This one's for the newspaper side. Big smile.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Okay, middle school.
All right. Okay, so
This month's leader of the pack is 7th grader Jordan Williams. She was selected by her teachers for many great reasons, so I'll read off a few things that they had to say. So first, Mr. Banks said, "I'm so glad to have her as a student this year. She's such a hard worker, participates with everything in class. Jordan always comes down to my classroom positive and ready to work." Mr. Rizzi said, "Jordan is a fabulous student and a wonderful musician. She's always very positive and hardworking, and that shows through her ability to play the flute." Ms. Geiger said, "Jordan strives to do the very best she can in all aspects, whether it be academically or in the sports she plays. She is a kind, warm young woman who truly deserves this award." And lastly, Ms. Curcio, I think, summed it up really well. She said, "Jordan is not just a great student, but a wonderful person. She's conscientious, hardworking, and exceptionally kind. She always has a smile on her face and is a joy to have in class." So congratulations, Jordan, on being the leader of the pack.
Now the high school.
Good evening, everybody. First off, I want to introduce myself. I'm Mr. Opitz. I'm the new high school assistant principal. Board members, hello. For those that I did not get to meet. Families, thank you for being here and being a part of this, especially the elementary and middle school. Congratulations. I would like to introduce Kaylee Kaplan, senior at our high school, who is a student athlete in our building and has been a wonderful person in the 3 short weeks that I've been here. She's made quite the impression on me so far. I look forward to sharing some of the insight that her teachers and close people that have affected her, and I'm sure she's very grateful for it. So Kaylee. First off, Ms. Garcia, Kaylee's school counselor, says, "I'm proud to say that she exemplifies an impressive array of positive qualities. She is always smiling, friendly, hardworking, and has an eagerness to volunteer within the school community. Recently, she took part in a trip to speak with 8th graders about the high school experience, showcasing her leadership and mentorship skills. She is a true role model, and I am fortunate to have the opportunity to work with her." Mr. Cozzolino also had to add, "I admire how hard Kaylee works, how positive she is, and how much she cares about her friends and peers. I've been lucky to have her in class for 2 years, and I'll definitely miss her when she graduates, and I'm certain she will thrive beyond Highland." Kaylee has also come off a very successful basketball season. Coach Geller did also add, "Kaylee's not only the leader of the pack, but she was also the leader of our girls basketball team. She showed maturity and composure in helping leading us to a successful year for the basketball program. She also gives her best effort in PE and basketball. Congratulations, Kaylee," from Coach Geller. And finally, Mr. Murphy, who has spoke very highly of her. I think he must use the word amazing 10 plus times. So, when Mr. Murphy is introducing somebody with amazing 10 plus times, she's got to be legit. He has supported her throughout her journey at Highland High School and, feels that Caps, as he calls her, that's her nickname, Caps, has a great future ahead of her and will be extremely successful in that all she does. So we're thankful for her. I'm thankful that I had the opportunity to meet her. Unfortunately, I wish I was able to meet you, in sooner circumstances. So congratulations, Kaylee.
again, congratulations to all our Student of the Month. It's a great honor to be sitting up here as board members to see all the accomplishments that all our individual students have done over the years. So congratulations again to all our leaders of the pack. I'm sorry. Okay. Yes. I know some of our young ones probably have to get home to do some homework, get a good night's rest for tomorrow morning. So if you'd like, you can leave, and I'm sure you don't want to be bored by what's going on.
More than happy to keep you around if you'd like to stay. Congratulations, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Oh, you welcome.
It's gonna block the screen.
I missed it both, actually. I missed it. 90-degree day.
Valerie, the seats in front. Val, there's lots of seats up front if you want.
All these seats. Look at all this.
Yeah.
Look at them. Mr. Colbert, look.
Oh, it's okay. It's so good. We're just not a front row kind of girl, you know? Nice try, though. How are you? Not really dressed.
You're gonna find out. You're sitting in that seat no matter what.
Okay. As we move through our budget process, we have another session this evening, so our business official, Lindsay, will give us an update on our budget development.
All right, so we are now at our fourth budget presentation. This presentation is mostly going to be a review and looking for some decision making. We're going to discuss the draft revenue budget, review updates since the changes that have been made since our March 14th board meeting. So with our revenue, we need to make a decision, the board needs to make a decision to determine the appropriated fund balance. So right now, there was a placeholder of 1.15 million that we have still kept. Based on our $319,000 that we needed to reallocate funds, we have now made a zero balanced budget. We did this by again keeping that 1.15 million as a placeholder. We did some reallocation of grant funds. We looked at our BOCES expense budget revenue and were able to cut back on some of those programs. And then our SRO program, we did receive a letter from the Town of Lloyd Police Department saying that what they were able to offer us for next year is pretty much what they've offered us for this year. So we allocated the funds to have that SRO in place for next year. You've seen this slide before. Highlighted in yellow is what may change on April 1st. The legislative budget will come out. So you might see a fluctuation in the revenue for the New York State aid. And again, I have highlighted in yellow our fund balance at the 1.15. The increases to the revenue, this is split up in how the budget has been divided into sections. So in the first column, you'll see what we have allocated for 22-23, what we expect to have in 23-24, and where that revenue difference goes. So if you see the 3.4 million here is the same as the 3.4 million on our revenue draft. So that gives us a difference of 0. Where at last budget presentation, we were at a difference of 319,000. So status of budget development. So currently, when all is said and done with our 1.15 and how the state aid is right now, we are at the 0 balanced budget. What we're going to continue to review are special ed placements, finalizing our BOCES, it's called a final service request. We'll be finalizing those services and evaluating fuel and electricity costs at that point in time. So our next steps are to finalize the state aid as it will come out on April 1st. Myself and Dr. Boyd will adjust the budget for placements. Again, these budget allocations may continue to fluctuate until the 18th when we approve the budget. And the other thing that myself and Kathy and Transportation are doing are monitoring those fuel costs as well. Just a review slide that at last board meeting we did approve the proposition for the buses. And tentatively in the calendar we have added April 11th Board of Education meeting if tonight we don't get a results on what the fund balance is going to be. So at this point from the board, that's really what we're looking to hear from as if we are going ahead with that 1.15. Does anybody have any questions?
I guess just question / comment, right, on the 1.15. We have fluctuated throughout the years on that amount. I know it's always been kind of a thorn in my side, just in terms of really wanting to bring that down each year. I know certain years we were, I think, on a good track of bringing that amount down, and certainly things arise, right, where we have a rough year and we maybe push it back up. I kind of want to ask the question to see if we bring that down to $1 million, right? So reduce it by 150,000. What are we looking at, right? Where would we see cuts? Just so that I think from a board perspective, we can make that decision and see, I don't know, is the 1.15 sustainable going forward, right? And that's always my fear. If we don't carry that over, we don't have it. So we could be in larger budget issues going forward.
So at the last board meeting where we were reviewing this, because I have been critical, right, of the assigned fund balance, that it's difficult to do year after year. I am interested in reducing it further, but I wasn't looking to do anything with that number in this particular budget season, just because we knew that there was some upslopes we were dealing with, kind of have worked out. But I deferred it to the finance committee to take a look at and see if that's something that we can program in, whether it's every other year. I also think it would behoove us to find out, and I know the budget numbers are different, but what do other municipalities, what do other similar schools carry as a fund balance? And, just kind of circle up on that over the summer with the potential to do something next year at the budget season. But those were my thoughts.
I think where we are at this point, if we were to reduce that any further, it would go into cuts in programming. And coming off of COVID, I think that was the administrative and our administrative goal was to not do that. So there's been talk that maybe, we mentioned it at the last meeting, that maybe an AIS section here or there could be impacted. I think coming off of COVID, we have a portion of students that need those services. So we did some hard searching through some of the other grants, not the ones that are expiring, but other grants, to try to get us through at least another year of giving those additional services to students. There are a few positions that could possibly be looked at through attrition. it's hard to say that because, and I know I've talked to other, talked to folks about this before. We do have a number of parents that have not decided to send their kids back to school yet. So we have some homeschooling going on. If they were to bring them back, I would hate to cut programming back and cut class back, that we would end up with larger class sizes. But last year we did not have a kindergarten number that we typically would have. So we did, after the budget, cut back one section of kindergarten, and that money did go into fund balance. So, you know, that could happen again. Not obviously not in kindergarten because we're at 5 sections, but if that number were to grow, right now I think we're around mid 70s. If that number were to grow, which we've seen happen in the past, we'd have to put another kindergarten section back in place. So it's hard to take a look at the program and start cutting from program, but we're committed to doing so. Like, we are looking very hard at, are there other areas that we could help to bring that down?
Yeah.
Now, if the governor's budget, which we've heard, you know, that this is a new governor, so we heard that the money was going to be given up front and there shouldn't be much change, but the legislature has to weigh in. So if there's some legislative money that comes out, we could put it toward bringing that 1.15 down, or reallocating some of the things that we took out. One of the things that Lindsay pointed out in the BOCES budget, one of the things they're not continuing in the future is some of the services at the Regional Information Center, with data uploads and things of that nature. So we have to do that stuff now in-house, but we were able to cut some of those expenses out of the BOCES budget to recoup some of that 319 so that we could get to a 0 as of today.
I think that, along with, we settled one unit contract this year. In short order, we'll be settling another, and these are major budgetary challenges. So to kind of compile that all in one year, I just feel like it's already been a pressurized process in some regards, and I just don't want to further pressurize it, right? The sooner we can adopt a budget, we can plan and move on. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I guess my concern is, right, I always, and right or wrong, I look at long term, right? This year and next year. This year is important, but if we're here this year and we have huge problems next year, that's my concern as well. So
I think if we are at that same point next year, we will be seriously looking at cutting some of those things. But hopefully we will be able to fill in some of the gaps that were identified, that we need to give those students a service so that they are on a level playing field moving forward. And that's our goal, is to...
And these should be top priorities on the Finance Committee's agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Who's on that committee, just to review?
the audit
have
committee,
an
we don't have
audit
a
committee.
finance
Audit?
committee.
Audit committee.
We've been
Audit
acting as
committee is
finance.
different.
Like, this is what we've been doing to try to...
Right. Audit committee is different.
Yeah.
The audit committee doesn't review that type of stuff.
Audit committee doesn't look at financial forecasting, just
No.
back.
Audit is passed, yeah.
Well, that might be something we need to talk about.
So I think, from that perspective, I'm not saying I'm looking to cut program.
Sure.
My thought was kind of what else is there, and obviously I know you guys have scraped and clawed through the data, but that was kind of where I was coming from. Not saying cut the data, not saying cut the program. I see firsthand that the services are needed.
Right.
So.
Well, and one of the things that we were committed to, and we mentioned this at the last meeting, is mental health is extremely important. We had those positions brought in during the grant season, if you want to call it that. We're doing everything we possibly can to retain those individuals, because I will tell you, the others next to me will tell you, when we walk into any of the buildings, those individuals are with kids all day long, working through some of the stuff that came out of COVID and, other things that are happening in lives. So, we keep hearing that there's going to be more support for mental health from the state, from the federal government. We hope that all comes to fruition. We spoke a little bit in the past about the mental health services that are now offered for middle level education through the county. But that's not the be all and end all. It's not in our buildings, and being in our buildings and working with kids every day is paramount to us. So, there was also a BOCES budgeting thing that we had to fix from previous years. So hopefully we're back on track with that.
And certainly applaud you guys. I know talking with Lindsay earlier today, just going through the grants and trying to reallocate that so that we do have at least another year of those services for those students.
But
I
point
applaud
well
you guys
taken.
for
If
that.
we get to next year in the winter time and we start seeing the forecast looks like this, we will have to be making some difficult decisions at that point.
We have one more meeting until we have to, one more scheduled meeting until we have to adopt the budget. That's the April 18th meeting. If come April 1st and thereabouts, the governor comes back and increases some aid to the districts, I mean, does anyone have a feeling of where you'd like to move? Do you want to reduce the fund balance, or do you want to use that money to increase some of our services?
Well, I mean, it sounds like some reductions were made just to mitigate the 300K. So there might be some discussion there as a starting point. But
Right.
And from my standpoint, and I've been on the board for quite a while, our budget discussions earlier on was a lot of activity from the board, input into some new initiatives, what's your feelings and so forth. But unfortunately, from 08, 09 on, and the economy kind of shrinking a little bit, and COVID and everything, that discussion has been very minimal. I mean, we have to rely on our administrators and our business official to.
you're in a
advantage.
positive aid year. I mean, they're giving us
For
back the
foundation aid's
second half of
100%.
foundation. It makes for an easy discussion. Really.
So, is there that need for the additional meeting we had talked about April 11th? I mean, right now,
We have it tentatively scheduled, so I mean, we could cancel it after we hear on April 1st or 2nd, whenever that comes through. So, I would say since it's all on our calendars, I think we keep it there and then pull it back
Hold it in abeyance.
if we don't need it. Because we could still have conversations on the 18th, and we could make a decision that evening. It's not like,
Right. I mean, you could always. Last year we took a sizable chunk out of that, or the year before, at 150K. If there's something additional, maybe just progressing down that road another 50K. But once it's gone,
yeah. Last year we were at 1.15
you're operating
as well.
lower.
If you remember,
we were at 900 for a
900
long
for a
time.
long
900
time.
for a long time.
That's kind of like where our comfort zone
Right,
always
and then
has been. So
and then it
we
got
increased
tight,
to
and
1.3.
That's what we're concerned about. There
Sure.
will be some years of budgeting downsides, and that program, whatever that represents,
Right.
is at risk. But we should.
There's
take a look
there's
at
just a couple of unknowns that make it very difficult to forecast what's going to happen in the next 6 months before we get to September. I am concerned about
just cost rise.
students moving in. I want them to move. I mean, come in if you're up there listening. Come to us, but we need to plan for that as well because we don't want to be caught off guard. But if we don't need it, we can still pull some of that back, and it would help with future fund balance. It's not really the way you want to do things, but I think you just have to be smart about being prepared.
Right. So I guess just my last question, just to Lindsay, you're confident that we have the 1.15 to pull forward this year into next?
This year we have the 1.15 to pull into next year. Yes, for this year. Next year.
Remains to be seen. Time will tell.
Yes.
And I think going through the next year, I think it's important that we're all cautiously getting through the year, and we're not that we frivolously spend. Believe me, we are not a frivolous district. But having hard conversations about, is this a necessity moving forward? Is it something that we need? Is it something that can be put off for a little while?
Lindsay will probably say, Mike, don't worry about it. But just so we're clear on the SRO program, we have a part-time SRO now.
That's correct.
We had a big community discussion and some decisions about moving forward with the school resource officer program. So I was adamant that another 1.0 be in the budget. Highland Police said, look, we can't supply that as early as next year. So with that said, okay, we know that it's a challenge. They're still trying to fill their own positions as well, and staffing across the board. But if that's removed from the budget next year, this time, if we want to move through and Chief says, look, I'm pretty well staffed out and I got some good ideas here, will we have the resources if we shift them or reallocate them now, or should that remain? Just throwing it out there.
For next year, we are just budgeted for the part-time SRO for next year. If they, at that point, when we're doing the budget going into the following year, we can look at that.
Okay.
But
In this budget process,
It's what we currently have. We had the others in there
had 3.
and we removed.
you had the others in there, the numbers, and you removed the number.
After we
Correct.
heard back from the town, we removed the numbers because they stated that we would only be receiving 1 part-time SRO. So.
And
that's-
you're comfortable that should they be able to staff it in the future, those numbers could come back from somewhere to supply that?
Well, I think that would be a conversation at this table to decide, is that what we're gonna put back in, and is it going to, there's options. You raise the budget, you cut positions to fill those, those are conversations I think we would have in the
Fair
future.
enough. I got you. We'll work together to
And there will
create a
be,
budget that has it.
just forecasting ahead, I know that there are some other retirements coming as well, not this year, but in the future year.
Right.
So that would maybe give us a little cushion as well. I don't think we can 100% count on that, but I think that's what,
Budgeted.
we're constantly looking at that.
Budget for it. Gotcha. Okay.
Any other?
Anybody else? Okay, thank you, Lindsay. All right, we'll move forward with our consent agenda. F8.1 to D3. Thank you, Lisa. Again, if you want to pull an item out and have a separate resolution, we can do that. Questions, you can ask our administrator. So need a motion to move the consent items forward. Motion by Tom, second by Ed. Discussion? We're good? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
So I'm peering my head around, folks, to see if anyone who was just approved for a position is on here. I don't think I see any. There may be some folks that were approved for the Bridge Academy. I won't go through all the names, but if you were approved, thank you for volunteering to, not volunteering. But I say volunteering because it happens. The Bridge Academy in the summer for the middle school and the elementary happens in the summer. So we know that is a commitment. So thank you for that. I don't believe our new hires are here. I can't see who's behind that.
No.
Nope. Martin Phillips. All right. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to curriculum and instruction, our monthly principals report. We'll start with the high school first.
You just freaked him all out.
Throwing off the mojo.
Good evening, everyone. Just 2 quick add-ons that I have to my monthly report. You'll see in the report that the Taste of Success, the last one that we had was the Zoomtobel group that came. And then earlier today, during 5th period, we had Mike Bragg with Bragg's Electric come to give a presentation as well. Very well received. They're able to give a presentation as to the type of career that they're here to represent, the ins and outs, salary, benefits, training, certification, etc. So the kids had a good time. The companies, when they come up, provide a pizza lunch. So the kids really enjoy signing up for that. So it was very well received by the students. And I'm very proud to report to the board and to the community that Chris Scrow, who has been working for several years on pursuing his doctoral degree, has now finally completed it and is now earning the Title I. So I can tell you on the Disney trip this past weekend, Dr. Scrow was very relaxed. Earning his doctorate. So his doctorate is in curriculum and instruction with a focus on science and STEM. And it took him, it's a lot of work that goes into those programs, so we're very proud of it. Any questions about my monthly report?
I was happy to see that Zoomtobel was in. This is a billion-dollar company worldwide, and we're really fortunate to have them as a partner. So,
yeah, what's awesome about it is that along with TRC and Bragg's Electric and other local mom and pop businesses, we have a larger organization like that on a more global scale, where Ken Brightman, head of HR, was able to come in and give a presentation more so, not just on the local impact, but on the global as well, being Austrian based. So that was a good presentation. Very cool. Absolutely. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I didn't put in my board report, but I wanted to highlight that on March 2nd, Mr. Welch and some seniors and juniors came down to the middle school to entice students to take French and to be a part of the French foreign language program. They did a great job, and the students, our 6th grade students, really loved getting to ask questions, to see what the program is about, and learn more about the many opportunities and experiences that exist for our French program. So I appreciate the high school and Mr. Welch coming down to do so earlier in the month, so that was awesome. And the second thing I promised in my board report was the Highland Times that Mr. Donahue did with his students. I talked about it in there, but I also wanted to provide a copy of the stories for you guys to look at whenever you get a chance. It's kind of thick, but the students were very proud of their work, so I wanted to make sure that you guys had a chance to see that as well. And that's it. Any questions?
No, report looked good.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Oh, don't forget the PTA fundraiser, April 14th. It's on the website.
All right. Hello, everyone. Quick few things that I just wanted to highlight from my report was the superintendent's conference day. We focused a lot on our math curriculum this year. We had an H&H representative come in from the company and work with each grade level and really get into the nitty-gritty of some of the curriculum. And we also had Shelby, as well as Shelby Babcock, and also Harriet, there it is. Harriet Meyer came in from the high school, and she went over the panorama survey and kind of talked through the staff about that. I want to give a shout out to the high school, Mr. Murphy, his crew up there, and Miss Kathy. I'm going to butcher your last name, so I'm just going to say Miss Kathy. So both of them for making our assembly for the Zuzu extremely seamless. We moved 635 kids. We transitioned kids in and out real fast. For the most part, I think everyone enjoyed it. But I give it off to the high school, and thank you guys, and Kathy, thank you for dealing with us. So, thank you. I think that's it. Questions?
I just want to comment. I think it's wonderful to hear about all this, the high school moving between the schools and the interactions that are occurring between the 3 schools. I think it's wonderful to build that sense of community. I know the children are always excited to see what their future holds for them. And I think it's wonderful that you're allowing for those opportunities. So.
Well, thank God that you guys are flexible and help us out. So appreciate it. Thank you guys. Any other?
Okay, director's report. Both of our directors are here this evening, so if you have any questions for our directors, you can shout them out. Again, our directors are doing a fabulous job. Huh? All right, thank you. So moving on, we'll go to our assistant soup for human resources and pupil personnel.
All right, so as you saw earlier, we have some folks that got.
Excuse me.
Sorry, we
skipped over me?
Yeah, I
Jump
guess
right over.
Look at him advocating for himself. I love it. I wonder where you got that
You kicked Heather under the table?
President.
I love it. Point of order. I apologize, our student rep talks. Well, I was saving the best to last.
She's so Disney, don't worry.
Starting off with the elementary school, Mrs. White and her third grade special education class celebrated various countries with student presentation on March 23rd. Mr. McCormick was a special guest and was extremely impressed with the students' work. Another celebration of student work took place on the same day in Miss Weaver's third grade class, where students shared an accumulation of student work and projects. First grade teachers Mrs. Lochner and Mrs. Canino, along with Mrs. Samuel and parents of students, were all special guests and were very impressed with the students' academic progress. Moving on to the middle school. This Friday, the Highland Middle School PBIS committee will host this month's extravaganza for all students without disciplinary referrals during the month of March. The extravaganza consists of a series of fun activities that students can sign up to participate in. Some examples of this include cooking, art activities, athletic competitions in the gym, and a Women's History Month themed Jeopardy game. Last week, Mrs. Harris and Miss Burnett's science elective classes boiled sap to make maple syrup. Is there any extra? I'm a big breakfast guy. They spent many hours prior to the boiling by tapping trees on the local HMS property to collect sap. The students had a great time and worked very hard to harvest the syrup. Spring sports have begun again at Highland Middle School, and the community is looking forward to great seasons from all of the modified spring sports teams and looking forward to numerous middle school students that are playing up on varsity sports. And then moving on to the high school. This Thursday, March 30th, 4 Highland High School juniors will be attending the NISFA, which stands for the New York State Public High School Athletic Association Leadership Council in Albany with Highland High School Coach Mancuso to sharpen leadership skills to more positively influence their teams, athletic departments, and school community. This past weekend, we actually just got back yesterday, a group of us seniors, including myself, went down to Disney for the annual senior class trip. The trip went very well, and students and chaperones all had a very good time, and I'm sure Mr. Murphy can attest. It was a very memorable experience. A few weeks ago, the Highland High School Art Club created an alumni wall. This wall includes a Husky-themed mural and framed pictures of each graduating class beginning with the class of 2020. Which is actually on your way out if you want to stop by, located directly across from the cafeteria. On March 8th, Section 9 athletic legend George St. Lawrence came in to speak to all student athletes. He shared a story of how he got to where he was now by climbing through adversity and climbing the mountain of life. By sharing his story, he sought to inspire students to be excellent in everything they do, both on and off the field, the court, the track. And to step up and be leaders amongst teammates, peers, and in the community. He also shared simple ways to make good choices and to be proud to represent the Highland Huskies, both through sports and through their actions. And now, just on a real quick side note, I just want to give a shout out to Mr. Murphy again for his diligence in creating new post-COVID atmosphere here in the high school. Having the alumni wall creates a larger sense of pride within our school community and allows our students, staff, and visitors to go back and see the past graduating classes and friends. And continue to bring in guest speakers also provides opportunities for students to be inspired and continue to rebound from the unfortunate effects of COVID, especially for the senior class, as this is our first normal year of school so far. So just big thank you to Mr. Murphy. any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Dr. Boyd,
Now.
you can proceed.
It's a busy time of year. As you saw earlier, we approved some people for our summer programs. Along with that, we've been planning for our ENL portion of that. Part of that requires some reimbursement from Ulster BOCES, so we work closely with them, meeting the requirements. And we have a meeting with Ulster BOCES again tomorrow for the services that they provide to our students through their programs and itinerant services as well. Last week I did a training with our high school and middle school special education teachers. We have a portion on our IEPs that focus on transition services and what we do to prepare students for their post-secondary life. And that's something that we're going to be evaluated on next year. Each year we get evaluated on different portions. So next year that's coming up on the cycle. It's been 6 years since the last time we did that. So we had a successful training last week for that. As you saw, we had a lot of meetings, 178 meetings over the last month that we've been holding as we predominantly annual reviews as we prepare all of our programs for our students next year. Big thank you to all of our buildings for their flexibility for those meetings. You know, they occur throughout the day, so it takes a lot of planning and switching of schedules and coverages from everybody. So a big thank you to all of our staff and faculty across all 3 buildings in making those help making those meetings happen and make sure we can get participation as well. At the last meeting, I talked a little bit about the recruitment video that we've been working on. We did have our filming on the middle school at February 24th, the high school on March 13th, and at the elementary school on March 21st. So part of that is Jessica Murray and some of the staff from BOCES came and interviewed some staff members and talked to them about Highland. They filmed some students, and they're going to be continuing to film with some community members over the next few weeks, and then put it together for us to look at and then to be able to utilize in our recruitment practices. So we are excited to see the final product on that.
Okay, any questions for Dr. Boyd? Okay, Mr. Zimmer, curriculum and instruction.
Good evening, everyone. Our district-wide direct committee will meet on Tuesday evening, April 11th at 6 p.m. on Zoom. The meeting's agenda will include time for students to share out and for committee members to collaborate to draft language for a district equity policy proposal. As part of her work as the district's direct liaison, Harriet Meyer recently presented the panorama results to each of the 3 schools. Teachers worked with the data to help inform their practices in the classroom. Of course, we look forward to continuing to examine data from subsequent surveys. And I'm very happy to announce the following. I'm thrilled to report that our district will offer universal pre-kindergarten for the 23-24 school year. Since we will not be able to house pre-K in district, we will partner with 3 local agencies, Learning Together, Stepping Stones at the Park, and Joyful Moments. Documents and contracts are currently being reviewed by our district's legal counsel. Based on the allotment from New York State, we had planned for 24 seats to be split between the 3 agencies. We anticipate, however, that this number will increase to a total of 40 seats for the next school year. If we do receive more than 40 applications, we will run a random selection process. The application and needed documents will be available on our website within the next week or so, and we will begin accepting applications beginning Friday, April 14th, and applications will be accepted for a 2-week window until Friday, April 28th. If random selection is necessary, we will complete the lottery during the first week of May. So that is exciting news for our district.
Is that a full day or half day?
Full day. Yes. Full day. Absolutely.
Appreciate your effort, and we know that these programs still require oversight, and you're taking that on, but
Absolutely.
we're certainly happy to take advantage of the opportunity and offering.
Yeah, great work in getting that done. I know it's something that we've talked about year in and year out, so kudos to you guys. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I would just ask that when we engage in this program that we keep track of the data, because I think it would be very interesting to trace that over the subsequent years to
Those
see
who
what the
attend,
efficacy.
yes. Absolutely.
Bill, just, well, maybe inform everyone, what's the parameters that we have to oversee, the universal pre-K to, that's farmed out to other, nursery, schools?
Generally speaking, it's a visit once a month, a site visit by myself or any one of the district administrators, and lots of collaboration. We will offer professional development with any of the elementary programs, the academic programs that we have will be offered to and encouraged for them to participate in trainings and professional development with that.
And what's the composition of staffing for those?
They are certified teachers, absolutely. Same as what we have.
Part of their proposals, they had to explain to us how they'd be meeting the pre-K standards that have been set forth, so they outlined that.
Will they fall under, will we have the ability to extend any of our software licensing to them?
Yes, I do believe so.
Oh, excellent.
I'm not certain, it depends on the program, but I do believe that is.
Yeah, and depends on what they're willing to use too, so it's
Right,
a share,
no,
you know, in their capacity.
I just wonder if we could afford them that, if our licenses would extend.
Yes.
Since they are falling under
I do
our
anticipate it will, absolutely. It's an exciting endeavor for us.
Is it 1 year, every year they apply, or?
Every year they will resubmit information, and we will hopefully get to a point where we don't have to do a lottery. I don't like the idea of a lottery, but it is the fairest way of doing it. It's not based on need or on student need or financial need. It is a true random selection process.
The Senate and Assembly are really committed to this, and they're the ones who really put that in.
Yeah, which is why originally we had 24 seats, but we recently learned that next year it looks like we'll be able to do 40.
For the 23.
For the 23-24 school year, yes. So that's about half, roughly about half of one of our classes. Yeah.
And there's 3 facilities?
There's 3 that we received proposals for. We sent out proposals to 5 or 6 local facilities, and we received 3 back.
That's why I think it's key that we grab the data and trace it up, so that we can, if there's a positive correlation, then I think they'd be much more willing to fund it.
Yeah, makes sense.
Are any sites able to service special education? Anyone?
Some of the sites already are servicing special education students. So those programs though are, you know, paid through by the county through a different source, so they're already placed there.
And the county will do the providing any services
For those yep. Because we're not a 4410 agency, so we wouldn't be able to provide those, so they would continue to be through the county.
As we see these things coming down the pike, we might want to look at doing some type of an enrollment study. I know we're still, you know, probably are not at the student population in 2010 or decades ago, but I will tell you that over that time, educationally, instructionally, we're held to a higher standard. Smaller populations, counting the number of minutes with the NL, so it might behoove us for budget forecasting to do that 10-year out enrollment study just to see what the data says, because none of our capital projects have increased the capacity of our buildings. Right?
Recently. Correct.
They're because we
Since
don't
2000, I believe, right?
they're almost like a maintenance issue, right? We address maintenance through capital projects, but I think at some point we'll have to address capacity and what we want for programs for Highland students. I think we're running out of room, but I could be wrong.
I will say,
yes.
say on the pre-K front, we've been very fortunate that when we sent out our RFP, we got people to actually fill it out and get back to us.
Yeah.
There are some neighboring districts that none of the pre-Ks in their school facility or vicinity are willing to do so.
Well,
and
that's
so
the other
some of
thing,
those
right?
are actually
Capacity.
looking to come over to some of the outside agencies in other district areas.
Bordering agencies
yeah.
that can do it. Yeah, that works too though for parents.
So kudos to those 3 agencies for getting back to us and taking this on, because it's important.
Down at the elementary school, some of the work that we are going to have in this next capital project is going to be making for more usable space, which will, help some of those numbers.
Well, it sounds like we probably have activities going on in there. This is gonna make it better for that activity. That's not like building 5 classrooms.
Right, it's not additional
Right?
space.
No, but we're,
It's
Yep.
move these shelves out because we got somewhere else to put them, and now we can
Right.
work in that space. But or I hear you.
Yeah.
Thank you. But
No, but if there is significant growth, you're right, we can look at a capital project to
We
build a
haven't put
kindergarten,
a
pre-K facility.
room onto any of these buildings.
Yeah.
Two
Something.
questions in terms of ages. Is that 3, 4, or is that 4?
Only 4.
Only 4.
Students have to be turn 4 by December 1st.
Okay, so just
2023.
okay.
So it's just for 4-year-olds.
So they could start as a 3-year-old as long as
Yes,
right,
as long as they
it's
turn.
before, just like for kindergarten. In terms of transportation, is that so? It's still parent
Yes.
transportation.
Correct.
Okay, just wanted to verify.
So if anyone who is interested in this program, keep an eye out on our website and on the district's social media pages for more information coming soon.
Nice.
Okay.
It's a long time coming.
Any other questions? All right, we'll move on to the superintendent.
Okay, so just put on your calendars that on April 18th, we will have our architect and project manager here, or is it construction manager? Construction manager at the April 18th meeting to bring everyone up to speed as to where we are with the capital project. I know we've had some internal conversations as I've seen board members, but there is a little bit of a lag at the state education department with getting projects approved. Our phase 1 is in Albany. It was sent there back in January. We're still waiting to hear some approval on that, which is concerning to us as a support services committee and as a district, and trying to get some of that work done in this upcoming summer. So it might not be as robust as what we had originally planned. But we are moving forward, and we'll have an update from the folks on April 18th. A reminder that on April 15th, we will be hosting our Highland Education Foundation dinner at Indian Ridge. The cost is $65 to attend. We will be honoring Paul Hansett, Carl Relier, and Angela Greco. Tickets are still available. You can call Becky at 845-234-1522, or you may call the district office, and Carly, my secretary, will handle any reservations. The Education Foundation has a raffle going on to support their endeavors. The raffle is for a bicycle. It's all over our Facebook page as of today. Tickets are $30 for one, $50 for two, and you can buy them from Heather Welch, Bill Zimmer, or me, preferably me, so that I win the bet in selling those tickets. Actually, I think Bill's ahead of me by a couple, and Heather hasn't, and poor Heather hasn't started yet. Actually, and I see she's in the room. Tilda Del Forno will sell you a ticket as well. So, please, if you can come out to that event, it would be nice to honor those three individuals, and the proceeds from the event will be going to fund a number of teacher mini grants, which the committee will be going through this week to decide. There's so many this year that they may not be able to fund them at the same level, so there may be some that only get a portion of the funding. So we'll see how that goes. I'm surprised that Taki did not remind you that the Brooks Brothers Barbecue fundraiser is going on here at the high school on April 17th. So you didn't steal one of my talking points. Thank you. So everyone's been waiting to find out whether we're going to have another snow day. I guess on Thursday it's looking like it's a possibility, but let's hope not. You can tell what's most important. So anyway, we have utilized 4 of the 5 snow days. If we don't use another one before the end of May, we will be returning that to the calendar on Friday, May 26th. Just a reminder, next week is spring break. I wish everyone a restful week and a safe week so that everyone comes back. School will be closed on April 3rd to April 7th, and we will be ready to go, kicking off our spring on Monday, April 10th. That's all I have.
Any questions for the superintendent? Okay, under Board of Education, under new business, BOCES annual meeting, scheduled for April 13th. Please RSVP to Lisa by April 7th. That's at the Career and Tech Center in Port Huron.
And I failed to mention, this is the highlight of the year. This is the one where our culinary students will be serving sort of, it's not cocktails, but like a cocktail hour. Then there'll be a presentation and then dinner provided by the culinary students. So it was last year was the first year that I got to attend. So it's really a great night, and our students really love to see us. So if anyone can make it, please let Lisa know by by April 7th.
Okay, we have a walk-in addendum. That's all in front of you. I'll read. It's a stipulation of settlement. Be resolved, the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, hereby authorizes the superintendent to enter into stipulation of settlement with the parents of student number 032823. Can I have a motion, please? Motion by Tom, second by Camille. Lisa, I'll ask you to do a roll call on that, please.
Sure, I'm gonna state your name and you just say yes or no. Heather Welch?
Yeah.
Ed Mizell?
Yes.
Mike Bakaxias?
No.
Camille Adoma?
Yes.
Tom Miller?
Yes.
Alan Barone?
Yes.
Okay, that's in favor, 6-1, Mike Bakaxias, no.
5-1.
5-1, sorry. That's why Janine's not here.
Okay, any old business? Okay, just under miscellaneous, just a FYI that the Distinguished Friends of Education Award is May 25th. Every school district, every component school district of BOCES has a representative that they honor that evening, so we are honoring Holly Brooker that night, so if you can attend, that would be great. Just have some showing from the Highland Central School District. Anything else for the good welfare of the district? Okay, I'll open the meeting back up to public comment. This ends the public comment. Talk about anything. Just state your name, please. Okay, we'll close public comment and I'll look for a motion to adjourn. Motion by Heather, second by Camille. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.